Hi everyone. What I'm presenting today, my name is Amine. I work at the Corrosion Center at the Qatar Environmental and Energy Research Institute. So what I will present to you today is slightly different from what others were presenting previously. So it's more about application of machine learning in the analyzing fractured surfaces in general. So my background is exclusively computer science. So if you have questions like technically in metallurgy or the mechanical engineering part of the work, you can refer to the other authors through me, of course. Okay. So the motivation behind our work was initially to tackle the limitations of manual analysis of fracture surfaces. So we know that it takes time to analyze a specimen because we may have many specimens. The area of the specimen may need different levels of magnification, and it's subjective because one researcher and another may have different assessment and evaluation of the surface. So we thought this is a good area to tackle with machine learning algorithms where they are known to be capable of handling complex patterns, reduce human error, inconsistency, and make the assessment more reliable. So in general, this is the proposed model. In general, we'll go through each step one by one. So at first, we have the SSRT samples that we get from our lab experiments. So from those, we get the specimens. We pass them through the SEM. We take raw images. These raw images are passed through a pre-processing and annotation step. Well, the purpose of this first is that given like a picture of a sample, you cannot analyze the whole sample at once, right? So you need to do it like patch-wise in a sense. So this is what we do in pre-processing. For annotation, we do it to kind of teach the machine learning algorithm how to detect the patterns that we want to detect. So in this work, we were particularly interested in the quasi-brittle fractures because they contain a mixture of ductile and brittle fractures, and they are very difficult sometimes to detect with the naked eye. So in these images, we have three types of fractures, either ductile, quasi-brittle, or non-interest or background, as we call it here. So from the annotated images, and we create an image data set, which we use to train our machine learning model. Yeah, which we use to train our machine learning model. After training, we call this model a production-ready model that we can use now without going through training again, and we can use it for different purposes. Now after this work, we developed a tool that is installed in our lab machines that we can use for different tasks. So first step is we had 25 samples of 316L stainless steel, all featuring, of course, austenitic microstructure. These are the parameters of the specimens and also the parameters of the SSRT test. The purpose here was to evaluate the impact of temperature, chloride concentration, and of course the oxygen level on the fracture of the specimen. We were studying also pitting, but for this study we are interested on cracking part of the. After that, we use our a scanning electron microscope to analyze the fractured samples. After careful study, we decided to split our study into 3 parts. First, images between 300 to 450x. Second, 500 to 700x. And the third part is 700 to 1500x. Now we come to the annotation part. Okay, so now we have images, raw images that are from the SEM. So how would we teach the machine learning model? We need first human experts who will look at each one of those images and kind of tell us which part of the image is ductile and which is quasi-brittle and which part is a background, right? So we did that with 2 specialists. They annotated the images using 2 different third-party softwares. These are available online. One of them is paid, and the other one is free for a certain number of images. Then a third expert validated the annotations because there might be differences in the annotations. The large images were split also into smaller patches, which is for the purpose of the training the model, because it's more desirable to have smaller images in machine learning as compared to other techniques. To make our data set larger, what we also did, we created augmentations. So basically, we take the same image, we flip it, rotate it, change the contrast parameters, then which creates more information for the model to learn from. As a result, we got 239 samples. That was the day we had done the study, but now I believe we have over 800 samples. I'll talk about this later, but we are trying to start an initiative to create a public data set and an open source machine learning model for the community to use, and which may also include other different types of fractures. Yeah, so once our data is ready, we used a training convolutional neural network model known as UNet. This is specifically an enhanced version of the UNet. I think I lost the pointer here. Okay, yes. We take the images and pass them through what we call convolutional operations. We start from a large image, and then we end up with smaller patches, and there are operations of kind of transpose operations that will get us to our original size. So the input is the image. The output is what we call a segmentation map, right? So just for the sake of comparison, this architecture can be implemented with different encoders. So we tested the most famous ones and the most successful ones in other computer vision tasks. And also these are the training parameters for those who want to know more about yeah, so here are the results. So here we compare the encoders that we described previously. We have different, I think when we look at the result, these evaluation metrics will make sense. But the most important one is the MIOU, which is the mean intersection over union. So we just want to know how much of the area there is an intersection between the true and the predicted over the union, the total area, right? So the higher this intersection is, the better the model is. Of course, there are some other metrics like pixel accuracy. If you take 1 pixel from the true and 1 pixel from the predicted, if they are different, then it's a 0, for example. If they are the same, then it's 1, and then we calculate the metric. The other metrics, they are for tackling a different problem when the data set is not balanced. Because when you take specimens like this, you will find mostly ductile, right? Most of the specimen is ductile. We found only that around um, the outer regions are quasi brittle. So if we see from this perspective, the total area of quasi brittle is much less than of ductile, right? And these machine learning models, they want like a balance between the data that you give them. Otherwise, they will be biased to one type of fracture. This is an example. I think this would make things more clear, hopefully. So starting here, we have an image. This is what the expert annotated. So he annotated this region as background, this region as quasi-brittle, and this region as ductile. And these are the predictions of our models, right? So if these type of models are successful, we will do this task automatically. We won't need human labor, time, inconsistency, subjectivity. And this is the purpose of this study. To summarize, as I mentioned, we are starting an initiative to create two things. First, a data set, because it is very difficult to create data sets of this kind because it requires a lot of testing. So we encourage anyone who has like data sets of this type to communicate with us. And second, we will publish the model and seek improved versions of it, depending on the new data set that we receive. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your